I guess just start rolling whenever.
Okay.
And we're good? Yeah. Well, so take two, I guess. So we're down here at the North Carolina, the food forest site. This is, for those who don't know, it's my grandparents' farmland. They grew up here. They haven't lived here in a long time. No one's really in our family lived here specifically in a long time. We've talked about this site a lot. I lived nearby for a few years, kind of started the nursery here, established a food forest. And today we're really going to be inventorying what's in the food forest, because we're at a somewhat of a pivotal point in terms of managing the food forest. So, you know, as you can see, it's grown up quite a bit. This is what happens when you don't mow. No surprise. There's no surprises here, folks. This is exactly what you would expect. But some stuff, you know, we're getting really tall. A lot of these plants, I call them volunteers. Some of them are native, like this dog fennel, very successful, aggressive native. Some of them are not native, like that princess empress tree, whatever that is. We got to get that stuff cut down. But anyway, the gist is that Sydney and I are really building our life in Virginia now, and we're trying to decide. You know, the original plan, I thought we were going to have enough time to easily come through here in the summer, like once a month, and get this all mowed with like a weed whacker and a little, you know, mowing equipment, push mower, riding mower, whatever. We've got several options. Life got busy. We didn't wind up getting down here frequently enough. As you can see, this is now beyond what a weed whacker or a lawnmower could handle. You need a real, you know, brush cutter. And so we're trying to decide, do we look into renting or purchasing a small walk-behind brush cutter? Because that would be something we'd use a lot up in Virginia. But then we could also manage this down here more easily. Or, you know, the folks who rent this farmland from my grandparents, they would like to bring their cows further in here. If we walk back here, give you guys something to actually look at. Watch the pile of rocks right there. Well, I guess we can't really see any of the cows right now, but back right around where this elm tree is up here in the distance, that's in the cow pasture. The fence is right about under that tree. So there's a desire to bring the cows in here, and I'm trying to decide, you know, if we're going to prevent the cows from coming in and we're going to keep managing this, we're going to need some different equipment. Do we get that equipment, or do we just say, we're building a life in Virginia, we're going to let this go to the cows? We can come in October and November and dig as many of the plants as we want to take with us that we can. We can plant them up in Bassett, you know, we can distribute some of them through the nursery, so forth and so on. That's the gist of the decisions that we're processing. In processing that, we got to learn more about brush cutters, because I don't have very much experience with the walk behind little pushing brush cutters. And it's good, you know, I'm not down here very often anymore. It's good to see what trees have survived and how good they're doing. Kind of like what would we be losing? What could we dig? What would be challenging to dig? Here's an example. It's a pawpaw tree. The oldest trees that I have planted here were planted in 2022. Most of them were planted in 2023. So we're like under 3 years, under 4 years for most of these, under 3 years for some. And there's a lot of examples like this pawpaw that I think are doing really good. There's a lot of examples like these two pawpaws, whether they're, you know, something chewed them back, I don't know, they're planted at the same time. So some plants are not as happy. Little hickory in here, but they're chugging along. Another pawpaw. And so the question, you know, could you dig a tree like this? Certainly you could. There's going to be some damage. It's going to be a stressful recovery for the tree. And the question is, for how many trees that are out here, does it really make sense in terms of time and labor to dig every single one? Is the question. Here's another look. I'm like 5'7". This pawpaw tree is, I can't tell. It's either, I think it's a little taller than me, right?
Just a tad, yeah.
Just a tad.
Got
so
you by like an inch.
It's pretty cool. It's going to be sad, I think, to let this go and say goodbye to all these trees. But the flip side is, I really am finding it challenging to get down here on a regular basis to check on things we've been doing. We've been down here probably once a month just checking on stuff, but we haven't been able to make the time, or at least I haven't been able to make the time to mow, as we can see. Now we'll talk later in the video. I always try to, I like to combine multiple. This was a little propagation bed. There's so many things that distract me in here. I like to have multiple reasons for these visits, stacking functions, and so we were going to come down this time of year anyway to pick hazelnuts, because we've got some hazelnuts we planted here that have already started making nuts, and I know of a few wild patches in the neighborhood
We like to get the seed for the nursery, and we eat a few of them, but we mostly save them for seed in the nursery. So we will show the hazelnut picking later in this video. If you're here mostly for that, I'll try to do a timestamp. But lots of black walnuts in here. This is not the best spot for a black walnut tree. We're in the shade of some winged elm, some sweet gum, and it's a different scenario when I'm living here, back when I was living here more full time, because I would say, oh, eventually we could cut down this sweet gum, free up some light for these walnuts here. This actually was a little propagation bed in the shade that I was growing in. Even though walnuts typically want full sun, with how hot and dry it can get here in the summertime, these walnuts have actually, I think, appreciated the shade. And so these are ones, we could dig these up. These would actually be good for grafting. Dig them up, graft them in the winter time, and then plant them out, grow them another year in the nursery, and then have grafted black walnut seedlings. So that would be kind of fun to dig. We've got another pawpaw here. This is not one that I planted, but this is one we're encouraging. This is the sumac, winged sumac. The patch started right under that elm tree. They make really fragrant, I guess they're berries. You can make different and they're a cool shrubby species. Provide a lot of habitat for turkeys and that sort of stuff. Another pawpaw here. And I usually say in these videos, I'm not going to have time. I'm not going to try to touch every tree. I am going to try to touch pretty much every tree here. So we're going to start moving rapid fire. This is a green ash that came with me from Pennsylvania. Probably will not survive long because the emerald ash borer, but giving it a shot. There was an oak in here, although I think it might have passed on from all the weeds. Same with this. There was an oak in this too, I think. Oh, actually, look, this is it. It's coming up. This is the oak leaf. Lots of this honeysuckle climbing it. Hackberry. This was pretty big when I put it in the ground. This one came from EB. There's another persimmon over there, probably about 4 feet tall. It's in line with this one right here, 3 or 4 feet tall. This is really a horrible site for pawpaws. I didn't really think about that as much when I started planting them, but despite that, I think these are actually doing pretty decent. Another pawpaw. This one showed up on its own. I want to say it's a mulberry, but I don't know. Also this oak, and this oak showed up on their own. There's not a whole lot of red oak anywhere remotely close, so it's probably a blue jay dropped the seed from somewhere far away. I did plant this oak here. I'm not sure exactly what type it is. I want to say it's a swamp white oak, but I really don't know. I know the acorn. I remember the acorn was massive, but I remember I did not ID the tree. We had a little bit of dieback in the stem here, but there's that guy there. This is a pitch pine. These are a really pretty tree. You find them more up in the dry spots up in Pennsylvania, well, up in New Jersey in the Pine Barrens, Virginia up in the mountains. If you guys know me, you know I love black walnut. One of my favorites. Smell the compost pile.
Oh yeah, it's gnarly.
Smells good. This black walnut tree is taller than I am, so to be able to stand here and shake a black walnut tree that I planted that's taller than me feels amazing. But like we said, can we keep up with them? Now this is a tree where, the management is an interesting question, because I don't really care that it looks weedy and overgrown like this. This walnut tree is on its way. There's probably not a lot of these plants are going to stop the walnuts. If the cows came in, this would get mowed back by the cows for sure. It would not survive the cows, but it would survive the weeds. It wouldn't look the way that I think the family wants the property to look. And also, I do like to have access, right? Even if I don't care if things look weedy, I want access to the trees. Another black walnut here. This is a hickory that is struggling, but it's a seedling from some of the named hickory varieties. I have a little map on my phone somewhere. It's either Granger seedling or could be a Weschke seedling. Another walnut over there. I don't know if you touched on that. We probably missed some. There is a hickory still in here. This is one that's getting swamped out by weeds. Now hickories are known for growing really slow. They put all their energy down in the roots first, and then they shoot up. So I'm not really that concerned that they're
struggling. There was, yep, there's a hickory right in here. So, as pitiful as they look, I do think they will shoot up in another year or two. Another walnut. Another walnut. Now, some of this is planted dense so that, you know, 15, 20 years down the line, we might want to thin some of these trees out. So that's part of the plan. Walnut, 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 black locust. Like, this is one that we would cut back as soon as it starts shading out the walnuts significantly, get some fence post material out of that, let it resprout, get some more fence post material from that. There's all sorts of stuff. Like, I don't think I planted this little persimmon, but I probably dropped a seed accidentally. Inside the dog kennel. The evening primrose has really been getting nibbled by, I think, deer. I think the deer found out that this evening primrose is here and they love it. But another black walnut. There's a black haw viburnum right here. There's a wild grape growing on it. There's some sunchokes right here.
Yeah, admittedly, we could have taken care of this a little better. It's a bit chaotic.
Yeah, we dropped the ball this summer for sure. Mulberry, hazelnut. There's a really dense little clump.
Someone loved this mulberry.
A native persimmon right here. So this is a clump where, like I've talked about this one in the past, we're gonna have to make some management decisions. There's, at some point, we're gonna have to either cut the mulberry or the persimmon or the walnut or the black haw, because they're not all gonna be able to survive. But anyway, management decisions. Check out the color on this crab apple. Pretty cool. Crab apple, black walnut, crab apple. Let's walk out this way. This is where we started to give a little bit of orientation. There's a pawpaw tree. You might say, like, aren't you afraid of snakes and ticks? And yeah, I mean, yeah, they're out here. But I walk through tall stuff a lot. You just check yourself for ticks. The snakes are a concern, so you try to make a lot of noise, walk slow. There's another walnut there. Obviously a lot of blackberries. Sunchoke. I planted this red maple to be kind of a chop and drop species, but you can see the deer have demolished this thing. It is alive, but it is struggling. Chickasaw plum. This is one that can survive the deer. It's got some thorns on it, if you can zoom in right here. They have these, they're sort of thorns. They're not crazy. They're not super sharp. They're easy to, like, they're not very strong thorns, but they do discourage the deer. I think also the leaves are not the most palatable to the deer. There is another Chickasaw plum there. There's a bunch of baby black walnuts in here. We'll probably dig those up for the nursery this year. You see they're all kind of struggling. This is one that's kind of out of place. These typically like more wet conditions. This is false indigo bush, and I talk about this plant a lot in the nursery. You can see it's a dappled shade. This is a nitrogen-fixing native plant. It will not get much taller than this, and so in terms of a nurse crop, a tree that is aggressive, relatively easy to establish as long as you have good soil. Like I said, it's kind of drier here than it would like, so it struggled its first few years, but now this is providing a great dappled shade that I could plant other native plants. I could plant a tree right here, give it a little bit of a a softer microclimate for that tree to grow up, and eventually any full-size tree will shoot up above this. But so great for tree establishment, also for folks who have animals. Very, I don't know exactly the nutrition content comparison of this, but being a legume, I would imagine it's pretty preferable to four-legged mammals. In terms of browse, where shall we go next? This is a persimmon. There's a chestnut tree over here. I don't really think we're in the best environment for chestnuts either, but here is a chestnut. How are we doing on time for this video? I want to be like under an hour.
We're at 14 minutes.
Oh, just 14? We're doing great. Okay. Your phone feeling hot to the touch yet?
Not too bad. It's
Okay.
been hotter.
We might have to take 2 days. There's a whole line of Chickasaw plums in here. It's actually 2 lines of them, so this is one of them. We did start to get fruits off of these this year. Obviously a lot of sweet gum that need to be cut down and brush hogged continuously. Let's walk in the plums. I didn't plant that, but those are persimmon. Chickasaw plum.
Those persimmons just know that you love them. They just keep popping up.
And the persimmons and Chickasaw plums, those are two species that are really well adapted to this type of site. We're sort of upland, dry, southeast, hot. Chickasaw plum does really good in that type of environment. So although the persimmons they tend to like wet, they can do well once they're established in a drier site like this. So Chickasaw plum, Chickasaw plum, Chickasaw plum. There's two more down here, and so this one is suckering out. So I did not plant this. I planted this and this. The roots, they sucker out, and so that's what I'm kind of trying to encourage. My goal is to keep this mowed and let the sides kind of come up, and you have a Chickasaw plum tunnel, like what we were picking out at Panda Land. There's that one spot that's like a tunnel. Remember when I was talking about native? No, that's not what this is. We were talking about native clematis earlier. I thought that's what this is. I actually think this might be what it is. I think this is native clematis. Someone in the video can correct me if I'm wrong. This is crazy. Look how beautiful this is. Look, climbing in the sweet gums. So this is a native clematis, easy to grow. One that we'd really like to get in propagation more. So maybe we'll be able to come and get some seeds off of this patch.
Can you imagine? We just plant this on one side. It looks like it just snowed every day.
By the way, we walked right past this. I forgot. Remember in the car I said, I wonder how my lilac's doing?
Yes.
It's struggling a little bit, but she's kicking along.
Poor thing.
This came from my other grandparents, their house up in Pennsylvania, which they might have brought it originally from their old house in Maryland. I don't know. They watch these videos, so I'm sure they'll tell me. Chestnut.
Maybe we can text them before editing.
Yeah. So, just to note, that's the growth this year. A lot of these trees have struggled the first few years establishing, but once they start putting out, there was a lot of water this year, but I'm feeling like a lot of them are kind of getting past that establishment. I want to touch real quick on this over here. I know this is probably giving some people like an absolute panic attack that I'm just stomping through this.
It's okay.
Tall
It's
grass.
just shin high. No biggie.
Yeah.
You need boots. If a snake comes for me, he ain't getting my ankles.
These boots are not very thick. At least I'm not in Crocs like normal. So this is a very special black walnut tree. That looks like the main leader died again.
Poor thing.
No.
Ow! Fuck! Just got stung by a bee.
Oh my god. All right, we escaped. We escaped. I think there were wasps. That is the one thing that is a struggle with tall grass, is the insects. Like if you're standing on a fire ant mound and you don't know, or if you step on a bee's nest that's in there.
Yeah, the fire ant thing happened to me at Pando.
You can make a bunch of noise and scare the snakes away. You can check yourself for ticks, but you can't do nothing about the stinging friends.
Whew.
Nothing you can do about. But luckily they didn't chase us.
No.
We must have stepped close to a nest or something.
Yeah, I feel like I backed right into it.
Yeah. So one thing I do want to point to, if you look back at videos when I first arrived, this was all cut. It was all brush hogged. So it was grass about this tall, and there was a handful of little, it was being brush hogged, I would imagine, like once every year or two. And so like the tallest thing was like little pine trees and sweet gums this big. And I don't know whether we're seeing genetics or soil differences. There certainly are a lot of differences in the soil as you move through here, because there used to be a house here. So there's been a lot of human impact where we've kind of changed the soil. But you can see this is the same age pine. Look how big it is. I don't care that these pines are here at all, because pines do not stump sprout. So even though there's a lot of pines, if I want them gone, I can come in here in the winter when it's cool, whack it down, I get some firewood, it won't come back. Whereas the sweet gum, almost the same size over here, this guy, this thing will resprout and resprout and resprout. You'd have to cut it every week for the entire summer to have any chance of killing it by cutting it. If you really want to go on, you got to dig it out. Some folks will spray herbicide. Animals could probably graze it to death. That would be a really easy solution here, is to let animals move in. And then after the animals move in, now they will mow down the stuff that we like they'll mow down the chestnut, they'll mow down the pawpaws and the walnuts, just like they will the sweet gums and everything else. But then after that, you could come through and mow easily the grass once it's all set back. Now, I don't know how much more after the bee sting. We don't want to test our luck out in here, and there's a lot of stuff to show. I think there's a few hazelnuts back in here that we didn't show. We could walk back to them. There's like one chestnut remaining over there.
We should cut one of these down for Christmas.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, like, that's what I
think
like.
those ones would fit perfect in my house. This
Yeah,
one
like,
might be more your mom and dad's house.
yeah, can we just real quick?
Would fit, but I'm gonna have to buy kills. That's at least like 2.5 Nicholases.
Why are we growing Christmas trees that require all these chemicals and inputs to grow when you could grow this native plant? I don't know what type of pine this is. My guess is it's loblolly. I don't. Yeah, I think it's loblolly, but I don't really know my pines that well, so I'm sure I'll get corrected. Someone can correct me there. Loblolly is one of the most common southern yellow pines we have out here. We're not really in the longleaf climate. Remnants of the old fire pit that we had. I think there's a video of me and the boys digging that fire pit somewhere back. This used to be a little pond. Sometimes when it rains, it fills up with water, but it don't stay filled. So we've covered most everything that's out here. Then there's a lot of fun stuff in here. I'm gonna grab a bucket because we can pick hazelnuts while we're doing this, and then we can go break for lunch. How hot's the? Oh, you have an alarm going off in the truck. Sounds like.
Oh, that's my don't sleep all day alarm. Or walk past that.
We definitely didn't sleep all day.
Gosh,
Although we
lonely.
did sleep in a little bit.
Can you imagine if I was still in bed right now?
That'd be nice. All right.
You got my water too.
This one?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. All right. I might not grab a bucket because I want to do outside the fence real quick. Yaupon holly, one of the only native plants to this continent that makes caffeine. I'd love to get a second one because it has not set fruit, and they might be the type of plant that has male and female flowers on separate plants. I can't recall, but I'd love to get some fruit for the seed so we could grow them in the nursery. Prickly pear. This tree only fell down like 2 years ago. It was a gnarly, I mean, you can see like it split. This was gnarly when this tree fell over. And we planted a black locust 2 years ago to replace it because I really wanted the shade here. I'm trying to think exactly when this went in the ground. It's less than 3 years old. So this is its third growing season, second growing season in this exact spot because we did it in a nursery bed first. Huge, huge. Sunchokes. You know it's dry when the sunchokes are drooping. Like, these plants are pretty adapted to dry climates.
Isn't that just the most beautiful thing you ever see?
And it's been a really wet year. It's been really wet down here all summer. It's been dry the past few weeks, but overall it's been wet. So to see this, I mean, but I will say, like, this little stretch.
Those ones over there are doing all right.
Yeah, the soil, like I said, it fluctuates a lot, but it's generally sandier in here. And so it dries out super fast. There, let's see, I think there is a hazelnut here. Kind of struggling. This hazelnut's doing better. But I don't think this one had any nuts on it this year. This was the first year any of the hazelnuts really produced anything. I am excited to come in and dig some of these sunchoke tubers up. There's a really big patch in there. There's another big patch I want to show by the shed. I did walk through. Oh, I hate the weed seeds from this plant. I forget what this one's called. But man, they stick to you.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, part of it.
Ew, I got uncovered too.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
we had these in Florida like crazy. The dogs would always be covered in them.
yeah. It's actually not as bad as there's another one that sticks to you that's stickier. It's like a little round seed. And there's some of those in the wild hazelnut patch over on the other road. So you can see the sunchokes are starting to go dormant. The elderberry is starting to struggle. It did make berries this year. A lot of the elderberries that we've planted actually bloomed and fruited this year. What I want to look for is, did my little black walnut in here die, or is that sucker still alive? Oh, I see the leaves. I'm gonna step on this stuff because it's half dead anyway. Look, this right here, this pitiful little black walnut. My plan was to use these trees to kind of provide a little bit of shade to establish the walnut, which you can see they are providing too much shade. Again, contrasting management. If I lived here often, it'd be easy to just cut these back the right amount to allow the walnut to thrive. There's a lot of sunshine in the yard. So this first little clump has been here for 2 years, but I extended it this direction. And you can see they actually are so heavy, they're starting to spill over. And there's probably lots of fire ants, and there's probably mice in here loving it, probably eating a lot of the tubers. See how easy this is to dig in. So here's a little baby sunchoke tuber. So I'm going to leave this for now, but this is where we'll get a lot of our sunchoke tubers for. Nasty trash that blew in on the wind. I think I have a trash can over here. Should we film in here? I just want to note publicly, Sydney's tougher than I am. If I got stung by a wasp like that, I probably would have just cut the video and said I'm done. Taking some Advil, we're going to eat lunch. Like, I'm over it. But Sydney's unfazed for the most part.
Except my butt cheek is on fire and it's swelling.
Okay, here's a hazelnut. What?
You're a moo-moo.
Oh, the cows. So, see this hazelnut here? What I want to show is how to tell if hazelnuts are ripe. We might make a, I'll probably make a video just about this in the other patch. But the nut, see how it wiggles independently of the husk? And it's brown in color. It just falls out. That's really ripe. The main thing you're looking for is if the nut can wiggle independent of the husk and that it's brown in color. It won't always easily fall out like that, but if it can wiggle. So we're certainly, you know, these are totally ripe. You can pick them a little bit underripe and let them ripen on the counter. They need to be brown when you pick them if you're going to pick them early, but I do sometimes pick them when they're still stiff. As long as they're a little bit brown, it helps me get them before any of the other, you know, animal friends can get them. Now, these hazelnuts have been tore the heck up by Japanese beetles, and this has happened in years past.
What leaves?
Yeah, there's nothing left, right? They skeletonize them.
Oh.
And the hazelnuts don't like it, but they put out a new flush of growth after the beetles are done. Like, this is all new growth since the beetles, like, this is probably within the last like month or so that this new growth has come out. They're still producing. Probably if you increase the health of the tree, like, they're being swamped by this grass. They're not being mulched. I'm not adding compost because, again, I'm not here to take care of them.
Hey, but for a case of severe neglect.
That's what I'm saying. For a case of severe neglect, they're still producing nuts.
You're getting nuts.
They're still getting bigger every year. Same with like these blueberries. Like, I have neglected the snot out of these blueberries, so the fact that they're even alive is amazing. Those we almost definitely will dig up in the fall, regardless of what management decisions we make here. I'm not seeing any other nuts on these. I'm just kind of... Oh, the thing I was going to say is that as bad as the hazelnut leaf damage is, it makes it easier to see where the nuts are. You might get fewer nuts, but it's easier to find them. Nothing there.
This kale has been here since the first time you brought me here.
I don't understand how this kale is still alive. This is from the perennial kale. I'm waiting for these. I wanted to collect seed, but they're just not.
You get one shot.
Let's see if they're anywhere remotely close to ripe. So they're still totally green. So I'm worried that if I cut the whole plant down right now and let it dry, they still won't mature. We're also at a point where I don't think I'm going to be down here to collect seed again for like a month, a few weeks. So I might miss the opportunity. So I love these red leaf peach trees. They're a little sad with how dry it is.
I feel like this one's even gotten so much bigger since the last time we were here, because I remember I took a photo with you in front of it. And
can you see me in the frame right now? I'm probably not.
Yeah.
Oh, you can? Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. This peach is also under 3 years old. I mean, so amazing. I want to show some contrast in between the peaches. To some extent, I feel like I just repeat the same things every time I film a video here. I put these Chickasaw plums in underneath the peaches in case the peaches struggled and died out, because peaches tend to be, unless you're spraying them, they tend to not stick around super long in the South. At least that's kind of the common knowledge anyway. Might not be always the case. Chickasaw plum does not look stressed at all. Look, droop, not droop. Now, to some extent, it's getting more shade than the plums are, so that's part of it. But I think it's also just these are so much better adapted to this environment. All right, I don't want to jinx this, but we have walked through all of this with loud weed whackers and stuff this afternoon, so hopefully there's no bee nests that are here. We would have hopefully discovered them all.
Talk about them. They're gonna know. And then
I
their
know,
ears
they're
are
gonna
gonna ring,
come.
and then they're gonna come flying.
I don't think there's any nuts on this one either. I did a brief walkthrough about a month ago and looked for nut clusters, and there was one shrub that had a bunch that we already collected from. They were kind of ready earlier, like earlier on in August. Ooh, there's a wasp nest right there.
Oh,
I jinxed it. It's on that tree. Luckily, they don't seem upset. Carefully looking. You know, a lot of folks don't know this. When you get fruit at the store, a lot of it was picked by a person. And a lot of times when you're picking fruit, like peaches especially, pears and things, people that pick, they get lit up by wasps and bees. The amount of times that they go to reach and grab that fruit and there was a hole in the backside that something's eaten on it and they didn't see it, and your hand gets stung. People go through a lot of rough stuff to bring you your fruit. So
thanks to our farm workers.
yeah, seriously.
We'd be dead without you.
Yeah, worse than dead. Suffered while we died.
This is our mess from earlier. We started and then we
started clearing some of the blackberry brambles out.
And we realized we're in over our head. Need like 4 pairs of gloves.
Yeah, so this is a hazelnut here. I'm gonna try to come in here and like dig these Osage orange up. The plan was to dig these up before they got so big, but I think we will dig these up. We'll probably dig some of these elderberries out of here. They do have thorns. Folks like these for living fences because of the thorns. They used to be called hedge apple because people would grow them as a hedge intentionally. Pretty cool plant. There's a lot of elderberry in here. A lot more hazelnuts. Another hazelnut here. I don't think this one has any fruit on it. You can see where it tried to make nuts. Either didn't get pollinated or it didn't, for some reason it didn't fully set the fruit. We'll see if next year's better. A whole bunch of stems of black willow and elderberry in here. These are all, regardless of what happens to this whole place, I'm digging these up this winter for the propagation through the nursery. This is a box elder that volunteered. You can see here, if you come around this side, I made a cut in the spring right here and put the material, the stem on the ground, mulch, chop and drop. And the plan is just every year, just come and keep cutting it here as a way to generate mulch in place. Instead of just cutting and removing the whole tree, we're gonna, use it to our advantage. So more elderberry in here. I don't know how much I really want to wade through this because I don't remember seeing that many hazelnuts on this line of plants. There's something like there's one right here. That one's ripe. See how it can wiggle independently.
Try to open that. Oh, I think is that another one right there? It like fell off. It's like coming out.
Right here?
No, closer. But yeah, that too. Right where your hand was.
Oh, this. Yes, good eye, good eye. And there's one there.
It's his like almost falling out.
Yeah. So we're actually probably almost a little bit late for these. It's hard to know because this is the first year that these have made nuts. There's another cluster. Oops. It just fell to the ground. We might have lost that one permanently. Oh, no, I see it.
Heck yeah. Look, I see one right here.
There you go. Sydney's got that foraging eye.
Oh.
Empty.
She empty.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. So we're late. So either a critter got that or eventually they'll just fall out sometimes. Usually the American hazelnuts do not fall free of the husk ever, even when they're ripe. European hazelnuts do fall out of the husk, and these plants are hybrids between the two. So you'll see a range of traits. Sometimes with a small nut, see how it's still stuck? This one probably will never fully ripen. I can tell it's smaller than the rest of the nuts on this plant and it's stuck. to this husk, even though it's fully dried out. It should be unstuck. Probably there's nothing in this nut. We might smash it open and see and try to eat it if there's anything in there. I doubt there's anything in there. Usually I don't even bother picking those. I want to show people. This is Bermuda grass. Can you backspace or backstep and so we can see how tall this is off the ground? Bermuda grass. Crazy plant. All right.
Messed up.
I need a shade break here soon, but I'm gonna.
Yeah, you're looking glistening.
Yeah, I'm sweating
In the
a little
best
bit.
way, my dear.
Sweating a little bit. But I sweat like a hog. I mean, it's not hot today by most people's standards. It's like 75, 77 maybe.
It is a little hot right in the shade. I mean, in the sun.
Yeah, that's the proof right there.
As you step into the shade, though, it's kind of like.
It is nice. It's nice in
layer.
the shade. For me, anything above 70 is hot, but I'm like, meant to be in Scotland probably.
Oops, sorry.
And we're just moving slow to try to not upset any bug or animal. I guess bugs are animals. Try to not upset any of our dangerous friends in here.
Nah, bugs are their own evil breed of their own.
They are something, I will tell you that. This is due for some winter management. There's mostly elderberry on my right and hazelnut on the left. And then there's some blackberries further in. I'm going to cut these elderberries flush to the ground this winter. I cut most of them flush to the ground this past winter, and you can see how vigorous they respond really well to coppicing, being cut back like that. We can take the material that we cut and we'll use it to propagate more elderberries. And that little bit of light earlier in the season, like I said, by the end of the season, they'll get this tall again, but it'll give the hazelnuts time to get some light. We'll pull all these blackberries out. I'm just going to go a little bit further in. This one blackberry is in a horrible spot. I can't see this last hazelnut.
Oh, and I put the pruners down.
That's all right. That's all right. I'll just get thorned a little bit, toughen my skin. They really grab you, the blackberry thorns.
Yeah, these ones are very big thorns.
They love you so much. They want you to stay. No, I'm just kidding. They want you to never come back, honestly. It's got my shirt. Oh yeah, then there's stuff like, there was a nursery bed of black walnuts. I thought I got them all, but I must have missed one. Because there's a black walnut there. This black walnut cannot stay here because there's power lines above it. It'll get too tall. But
our company don't like that.
You see all these stems? This is lamb's quarters, which is a lovely native plant. Good greens for eating. Oh my gosh. Something has been digging in here. I think the groundhogs got in. What do you think? Man, that
What if it's an ant pile? Should we?
No, that ain't no ant pile.
Oh yeah, too hard.
Come look through here. Look at this hole. Let me get out of the way so I don't cast a shadow.
I'm also casting a shadow. My own head. Good grief, Charlie Brown. You can't really see very well in it, but
that is a big.
That thing
hole.
looks like a drive-in resort down there. It's crazy.
Man, something trampled the sunchokes. I think deer are hopping in over this fence. It's not quite tall enough to keep them all the way out. And, oh, that is softer than I would like it to be. Afraid I'm going to find the other end of this dang hole and fall in. Folks, that's how big it is. I could lose a foot.
I thought I was going to be slick walking over here. There's cages.
Oh, yeah, I used to have a trellis tomato cage situation going on here. Something flattened all these sunchokes, and there's the other end of the hole.
I thought that was you. I saw this when I was trying to get over here and weed whack, and I was like, man, he's making great time.
There's the other end of the hole.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I actually wonder if this is groundhogs pulling these over and eating them. I'd be willing to bet it's the groundhogs.
That's funny.
That is funny.
Game cam time.
Well, I think we'd rather them here than trying to dig under the barn,
Right.
Of course, they'll keep breeding, and then there'll be more. But they, this was their home before it was my home, so I can't really be too upset about it. Watch this post.
Oh, thank you.
You know what's interesting is I have not seen any fire ants today.
Don't say that.
I'm sure they're around, but it used to be you could hardly walk through here without standing in a fire ant mound. I'm not saying we did anything right to cause that to happen, but something has caused that to happen.
Honestly,
And
there's probably so much grass that
maybe we just can't see them.
Can't-
It's possible.
it's giving us enough of a buffer.
Yeah, that is certainly possible. That is certainly possible. This redbud's doing good.
I ain't no mathematician, but that's my guess.
Can't decide if I want to take my owl home with me or not. Say a little owl.
Yeah, it's cute.
My grandma made that and just watched it over the plants for me. I think for now he can stay. All right, well, I think it's lunchtime. Probably past lunchtime. This may seem like a pitiful hazelnut harvest, but I already pulled like a, I don't know, probably like a half-gallon Ziploc bag of nuts out of the husk off of this patch. And like I said, it's the first year they produced, and they've had no management. They've had no help. So that's pretty impressive. We're going to get some really nice elderberry plants out of here in the fall. There's a few false indigo bush in here too that we'll get out. Dig them up, and they'll be available through the nursery. But I don't know, folks. I think that's kind of it. Let me know your thoughts on this video. This is our first time having microphones, so hopefully the sound quality is a little better. I don't know why I didn't do that ages ago. These microphones were cheap and they work super well. Well, today, the one time I've used them, I don't know how long they last, but we will be filming more today, but it'll probably be a separate video because I want to film the hazelnut harvest at the wild patch and talk more, just kind of hone in on hazelnut specific stuff. But that is an inventory of almost every plant we've got going on here. I can see a black locust that we missed. There's a few red buds in there we missed. And like I've said, it's hard to catch everything. Let's go look at these wildflowers before we dip out.
Didn't video those.
Yeah, so this is mostly this asparagus looking dog fennel. I forget exactly what this is. A friend gave me the seeds. There's tons of pollinator activity happening here.
Well, there we go. Now we're focused.
Real pretty. Relative of sunflower of some sort, I think. Can't remember exactly. Yeah, I'm not as good with my herbaceous plants, so someone in the comments can let me know what this is. I don't think it's cut leaf. Maybe it is. I want to say it's Sochan.
Should call it cute leaf.
Cute leaf. That's good. All right, I need a shade break and some water. Folks, thanks for tuning in. We will catch you in the next video.
Peace.
All right, well, I'm realizing my microphone was not on. I think probably what I said here, y'all would have been able to hear me, but just in case, I'll briefly go over some of it again in case what I was saying is not, you can't hear it. But we can just stand right here while I say it, and then we'll overlay the footage with the audio if we have to. This windbreak we started, I believe, in 2023. We've got videos on establishing it, and I feel like I learned some lessons, some valuable lessons from the food forest when I came over here, in that mainly that I planted it in a line, so it's very easy to mow. Now, as I said, we haven't been down here, so we haven't kept it mowed, but if it's mowed regularly, this is a straight line, easy to hit with a weed whacker or a mower, and if we can get a little walk behind, brush hog thing, it would be easy, just one pass in between here and the fence. We planted really, really densely with bare root trees. I had a ton of bare root trees extra that year. I mean, I usually do have a lot of extra bare root trees from the nursery. It's one of the benefits of being a nursery is you get extra plants. And we just stuck them in. And what you're seeing is the early successional, fast-growing trees, the black locust, the maples, tulip poplars. They are closing the gap quickly. And a lot of the slower-growing species, the oaks, the hickories, the persimmons, they're hanging out in the understory, growing slower. And over time, after we see what survives and gets like above deer browse height, we can start to make some selections. So right now, like in this patch, the black locust are still providing some shade and some kind of nurse habitat to other more valuable species to me, like the black walnut, some persimmons, there's Osage orange in here. And so eventually, right now they're all getting along, but eventually as they get taller, we'll have to make a decision. Are we going to cut the black locust to keep the walnut? Are we going to cut the walnut or keep the Osage orange? Like, we'll have to make these decisions of who's going to be in this windbreak long term. But for now, we're still playing the waiting game to see who can survive without really any help, and get above that deer browse height. Because a lot of them, like we planted almost every foot in this row, we planted a tree, and you can see through the footage like there's not that many, there's not a tree every foot. A lot of them have died, but the tough ones have survived. Year 3 from a seed, and this black locust is already producing seed, although a lot of these look moldy. It's been such a wet year. That's not a surprise. I think I saw some good ones on the piece that fell to the ground. There's probably some good seeds in here, but these are all looking pretty moldy. Osage orange, box elder, and then I think that's pretty much it. If you look back in older videos, watch out, these are a little sharp. If you look back in older videos, you can see where this used to be a big pile of wood chips. And what I didn't use, we didn't tarp it, and I just left. And the Bermuda grass has climbed back into it. But I believe Vaughn, he rents the farmland here for my grandparents, I believe he's made use of this somewhere in the pastures. This Bermuda infested wood chip. It's probably pretty nice and broken down soil down in the middle of that thing. Red maple. I must have planted black walnut seeds at the base of some of these maples, because I don't remember planting black walnut trees, but I do remember putting some seed in here. So these are just direct sown black walnut, never disturbed, never transplanted. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, I'm not seeing much of anything. This whole line I tried to direct seed with persimmons and oaks, but I just didn't get good germination for whatever reason. There's one persimmon here. The black walnuts obviously came up. Oh, wow. There's some persimmons in here. I wonder if these germinated this year, because, like I said, we started this in 2023. I didn't see any persimmon. I don't think I saw any. We'll have to look back at old footage. I don't remember there being persimmons here. Maybe there was. Maybe they had a delayed dormancy. None of these oaks really popped up, though. But, so anyway, that's just last little update on the windbreak. It's much nicer out now that the sun's going down. We're going to go finish picking our hazelnuts. Hit the road and head home. Try not to get stung anymore. How you doing?
Tired. Benadryl kicked in too good.
Yeah, I hear ya.